With #1 Georgia's playoff spot so secure, and a 9-3 LSU team now down at 14 and really out of college football playoff contention, you might think that takes some of the excitement out of Saturday's SEC championship for this Georgia Bulldogs team. But in the words of Lee Corso, not so fast. Hey everybody, this is Sarah Spencer with the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, and this is Know Your Dogs, coming to you from about 75 miles from where we normally film in Athens, here at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, where Saturday's SEC championship between Georgia and LSU will take place. Even though it's about an hour-and-a-half drive from where the Bulldogs normally play to where they'll play Saturday, they still feel like they are playing in their home court, and they want to protect it. To preview Saturday's game, I'll be joined by Javon Bullard, Warren McClendon, Chris Smith, Georgia coach Kirby Smart, and my coworker, our Georgia beat writer Chip Towers, so stay with us.
We take a lot of pride in it. We feel like this is University of Georgia. This is our state. We take a lot of pride in playing in the stadium. Like you said, we played in it earlier this year. We played in it last year, so like it means a lot to us. You know what I'm saying? To come out here and be victorious in this game.
This is the 5th time Georgia will play in the SEC championship since Kirby Smart took over as coach in 2016, but they've only won it once. That was in 2017. So this year's group of seniors, they've got a national championship, but not an SEC championship. And what's more, for some of these seniors, they remember in 2019 when LSU and quarterback Joe Burrow, Heisman Trophy winner, took it to Georgia 37-10. So yeah, that gives them a little extra fire in this game.
LSU was a great team. Last time we played them in 2019, they gave us a beat down and left a bitter taste in our mouth. So I was here for that, and it definitely gives me a little extra motivation for this game as well. It's definitely one of our team goals to be able to win the SEC. I played in this game 3 times and haven't been able to win, so hopefully 4 times the charm, and we're going to put in the work and execute the game plan as best as possible to be out there and go out there and get a win.
Georgia is #1 in the country in red zone conversions with a 96.97 score percentage. So forgive me for this section because it's gonna seem like I'm nitpicking. But of those 64 scores, 21 of them are field goals. That's significantly more than Georgia and Coach Kirby Smart want to happen. Here's what Smart said about that red zone execution these last few games, and quarterback Stetson Bennett, who has not looked as sharp these last few weeks as he did to start the season.
Millions of things. I mean, you can't even go into the factors that factor into red zone. It's not one thing. Ultimately, you better be able to move people. You better be able to block people. And you got to be able to make some plays at critical times. And you can't beat yourself down there. But we have been up and down at times, and we've been really, really good, and we've been pretty average at times.
I guess this is all kind of related, but toward the end of the year, has Stetson not played as well in your opinion, or has it been more about the opponents?
No, I think he's played well. I think he's done what we've asked him to do. I think he continues to do that. Then we'll be successful because what we've asked him to do, he's done. He has played some formidable, good opponents, and he's played really well against those teams. He's had a couple of decisions I think he would like to have back, but he's also made some really, really spectacular plays. So sometimes when you put a lot on a player, you may get some of that. You may get a mistake. You may get something he wishes he had back, but he also has some really incredible plays.
After spending much of the season at #2, Georgia is back up to the #1 scoring defense in the nation, holding teams to an average of 11.33 points per game. But LSU's defense is nothing to scoff at. They've got 2 of the best pass rushers in the SEC. That's linebacker Harold Perkins, who's got 8 sacks. That's the 3rd most in the SEC. And defensive end BJ Ojulari, who's tied for 8th with 5 sacks. Here's what Kirby Smart and offensive lineman Warren McClendon had to say about that duo.
Watching a couple games, I've seen them rush the passer. You know, they're really good, and that's something I'm excited for this week, and get back in there, watch some film, and see, watch more film on them, and get ready for this weekend.
Yeah, right. They're going to use him in different ways. They've changed up the way they use him throughout the year. It's what good defensive coordinators do. They try to find different ways to put him in maybe a mismatch and utilize him. And you have to know where he is, and you need to know where he is at all times because he's really athletic. He's just very disruptive, and you make your team aware of it.
All right, everybody, let's bring in our Georgia beat writer, Chip Towers. Chip, I feel like this game has a different feel and vibe with Georgia up against a 9-3 LSU team that just lost to a bad Texas A&M team. than if LSU was still knocking at the door for the playoff. But Georgia still has a lot of reasons to fight and scrap in this game and come away with win.
Yeah, they do. I mean, Georgia has everything to play for, but so does LSU too. I mean, I'd be lying if I said that didn't put a little bit of a damper on the game. There's no question. Ask the people in the ticket business. I mean, it definitely put a damper on the game with LSU having lost to Texas A&M late Saturday night. But they can still win the SEC championship. They can still lift the trophy. And as I do, talking to those Georgia players this week, the one thing missing from their run last year was an SEC championship. Georgia hasn't won an SEC championship since 2017.
And they got stomped by LSU.
Yeah, that's
last
right.
time.
You wrote about that on AJC.com, the fact that, LSU, I mean, they've kind of had Georgia's number, not just lately, but for a while. So there's a lot of incentive for both teams in this game. But for Georgia, look, it's the pursuit of perfection, 15-0, repeat as national champions, and right now LSU is in their way.
Is this an opportunity for Georgia and especially quarterback Stetson Bennett to show the nation what they are made of? They weren't number one for a while. Everybody picked against them in that Tennessee game. At times, they've looked like dominant number one. Statistically, they do, but it's crazy how high the bar is that they can be as good as they are in the red zone, but we still come away thinking, it's too many field goals.
Yeah, funny, isn't it? They lead the nation in red zone offense, yet we spend all the time talking about red zone issues because they're kicking field goals rather than scoring touchdowns. I mean, there's a lot of issues. I mean, Stetson Bennett was an unhappy camper after that game.
He was very frustrated
he
after
was
that Georgia Tech game.
He was emotionally wrung out, from it just being senior day and all that comes with it. Georgia didn't particularly play well, and that's the thing about this Georgia team. I mean, they win 37-14, and you're going, what's wrong with them?
Slackers.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's like their bar is so high.
The bar is so high, but they we've seen it, right? We've seen them clear the bar really high when they played Oregon,
right?
When they played South Carolina on the road. We really haven't seen that Georgia team for a long, long time. Maybe first half against Tennessee, we saw them kind of put it all together, but they really haven't put it all together since then. The good thing, because of this stage, because of being in the Mercedes-Benz Stadium, where it's going to be 72 degrees, there's not going to be any wind.
You played there before.
You've been there a few times. You have a chance to be there again. So there's a lot of incentive for Georgia to play a lot better, and they believe they can.
The defense has definitely looked better since Jalen Carter has been full tilt. They're back to the number one scoring defense in the nation. What do they need to do against this LSU team? And tell people what they can expect regarding Jaden Daniels and the quarterback situation for LSU.
Well, nobody's 100% sure about Jaden Daniels, and that's a big factor in this game. I mean, Jaden Daniels is a great quarterback, but one of his primary weapons is his wheels, and he's got a bad wheel, right? I mean, we saw what happened to him late in the game against Texas A&M. He's been in a boot. He was in the boot the first couple of days of the week. He was supposed to return to practice earlier this week. I have no reason to believe that he wasn't going to, but there's no way, I don't think, that he's going to be 100% in terms of his mobility when he plays Georgia. That's a big deal. Georgia's defense has been good all year, whether it's been mobile quarterbacks or not mobile quarterbacks. LSU, even though Jaden Daniels really moves around well, they haven't been great at protecting him. They are 111th, I think it is, in sacks allowed. So I think you're going to see Georgia really get after him, especially if he has a bad wheel.
Chet, thank you so much for joining me. Thanks to all of you for watching. Make sure you go to ajc.com or subscribe to our YouTube channel to find more videos just like this one.